Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you again for joining us at American Baptist College for our webinars, our admissions webinars. We are doing these every week, Wednesdays at 2 p.m., because we want you to come to American Baptist College. That's why we're doing this. I am Jill Jones. I'm in the admissions office. And today we have with us for our fresh start, we have Pastor Professor William Green. Professor Green is a jack of all trades. He is a pastor. He is on the leadership team here at American Baptist College. He is dean of the chapel. He is a great man. And I am going to turn this over to him so that he can tell us what we're going to be doing today with students. Professor Green, it's your turn.
Thank you, Ms. Jones, for that amazing introduction. It's something that I learned a while ago. It's simple. If you spot it, you got it. So thank you. With that being said, hello to those who are tuning in, logging in, and forgive maybe my lack of clear language of the tech world and the cyber world, but that probably dates me. I'm a 1985 graduate of American Baptist College, and I have the unique privilege of serving in the capacities that Ms. Jones just described. And so I've invited some of my friends who have graduated from American Baptist College as well, have deep, long-lasting relationships in many ways with each of them. And as we are preparing to share our time together, I was thinking this old school situational comedy, it's a different world than where we come from. And that coming from can be from March, right before the pandemic hit, to where we are now, or from our time at American Baptist College. So we have as our guest today, John Lee, who pastors in the Bowling Green area. We have Shalania McCready, who resides in Nashville. And we have Damian Searcy, who also resides in Nashville. So we're just going to begin. This was something that we struggle with. Who would go first? Should we let ladies go first, or go by age, or should we go by last name? And so we just kind of flipped, if you would, a virtual coin, trying to respect social justice and all those other wonderful things in this world that we live in. So I'm just going to begin with John Lee. And tell us, if you would, when you were at ABC, when you graduated, or your time at ABC, and we'll begin there.
Thank you so much, Professor Green. Obviously, I'm on here, unlike the others, because I'm probably a model for how you do not do this. Amen. I initially came to American Baptist College in 1984. Actually, as I was entering American Baptist College, Professor Green was about to graduate in about a year. One of the things that I want to share at the top of this conversation is the importance of American Baptist College in terms of the relationships that I've been able to forge and form across the years. Professor Green is one of my nearest and dearest brothers, beloved. He was very instrumental when I got to American Baptist College in, number one, helping me to remain at American Baptist College, because I came to American Baptist College with some preconceived notions, etc. And there came a point where I was getting ready to walk off of campus. But it was something he shared with me that kept me there. And to this day, I'm grateful to God that I remained on campus. He basically said to me, everything that you see on this hill is outside those gates. And he said to me, if you cannot handle it on this hill, you will not be successful outside of those gates. And so I thank him for his wisdom. I thank God for using him to keep me there, because again, I had no idea the role that American Baptist College would play in my life, shaping my ministry, etc. Um, Knew nothing about the history of American Baptist College as it relates to social justice. Quite honestly, went to American Baptist College, wanted to go to school to learn about the Bible. That was it, plain and simple. Want to know how to preach. But at the end of the day, walked away with so much more, and so much more that this time together would not allow me, because of time constraints, to be able to share all that American Baptist College has meant in my life and continues to mean in my life today. I will tell you quickly, um, outside of relationships, such as my relationship with Professor Green, my roommate, who we have been friends for probably 40 years now. Um, Euro Williams out of Houston, Texas, etc. But when I knew just how much American Baptist College had helped shape me academically was when I left American Baptist College and went on to ITC. I was took a class, the Hebrew Scriptures, with Dr. Timber Mafiko. We were advised not to take his class. As a matter of fact, we were advised to avoid his class at all costs. There were actually students taking him for the third time because they had failed him. I didn't have any better sense than to take on the challenge. The short and long story is that I passed his class with an A minus the first time. He encouraged me to seriously consider becoming a scholar of the Hebrew Scriptures, and I contributed that to my time at American Baptist College. And I guess the second thing I would go on to say in terms of the way American Baptist College helped shape me was I was pastoring Greater Liberty Baptist Church in Lexington, Kentucky. At the time, got involved again, as I was sharing with them prior to going on live. Uh, Social justice has seemed to find me and follow me. I got involved in the work of social justice at Greater Liberty Baptist Church in Lexington, Kentucky, when I got involved with an organization called BUILD, which is an acronym for Building a United Interfaith Leadership through Direct Action. Um, got called to pastor where I am now, which is Mount Zion Baptist Church in Bowling Green, Kentucky. They did not have any social justice ministry here other than Kentuckians for the Commonwealth. That was a young lady who pastors Disciples of Christ Church here, white female, and she was looking for someone to help partner with her in the work of social justice. We were connected through the Director of Housing Authority, Mr. Abraham Williams. As a result of it, I ended up becoming a co-chair of the Poor People's Campaign for the state of Kentucky. Ended up bringing in Dr. William Barber, and from there ended up going to Washington, D.C., had the opportunity to not only have him to come and speak at Mount Zion, but went to the prison system, spoke with Dr. William Barber, myself, and just doing the work of social justice, continuing to do that, breaking down barriers, building bridges, fighting for the fairness ordinance, et cetera, and for the LGBTQ community, et cetera. And that's just a little bit about, and I guess the last thing I will share with you is how I pledged Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated 30 something years ago at American Baptist, had no idea that being called to Mount Zion Baptist Church in Bowling Green, Kentucky, how many of my officers and members would be Sigmas. And as a result of it, many of y'all pray for Damien. Y'all pray for him.
That's what I was thinking.
I love it. I love it. But I had no idea. Sigmas and Zetas. I had no idea of how a decision that I made 30 some years ago would impact my life and my ministry 30 some years later.
Yeah, thanks, John. I know Damien wants to get in, but I'm not going
I
to
do
allow,
it. I do
and I
it.
don't mean allow, but that whole Greek thing is going to be a problem. I understand. But let's hear from Shalania. Shalania McCready resides here in Nashville, as I mentioned before, and just want her to introduce herself, some of her time at ABC when she graduated, and whatever else she wants to say, and then we'll invite Damien, and then we'll converse even more. So take us away, Shalania.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shalania Ivy McCready. I started at ABC in the year 2003. I graduated in 2008. I entered with a plan to finish in 2.5 years. The first 2 years, I took 18 hours at a time. And I even went to summer school. I was determined to finish early, and at the time, I was determined to prove my worth as a woman, because women in ministry in 2003 was still a struggle. I didn't want to argue my worth. I wanted to show them my worth. Needless to say, it didn't happen like that. I burned out fast, but I found my way. I completed in 2008. And one of the things that contributed to my burnout was I started school as a single mom. I had a wonderful team of people around me. So I didn't necessarily feel like a single mom, and I thought I could leap buildings in a single bound, not just be a single mom. And so much so, I even took my children to class with me. Um, I think today American Baptist College would be considered a boutique college. Uh, so much so, everyone's name. Everyone knows your name, and we became a family, with the exception of Davy Tucker, Pastor Davy Tucker, and Pastor George Parks. No one else gave me a hard time except for those two. And I mention these names because I love them so much. We have continued to love each
Man.
other over the years. As Pastor John Lee stated, you build relationships
Yes.
and they just don't go away. But they did give me a hard time, so I'm not letting them off the hook. George Parks was very young at the time. I was probably 10 years his senior, so he didn't understand what I was going through. Davy Tucker was probably 20 years my senior. I don't know. But he had come seemingly to me from historical church, and they didn't make it easy for me. But I was smarter than them. So here I am. I love y'all. I know you're watching. Uh, so I said all of that to say American Baptist College is not a singular focused school. It's
No.
not for a singular type of student. We had people ranging 17 to 77, or probably even older. Some who struggled because they had been out of school for a very long time. Some who were used to writing papers and reading because they were fresh out of school. And then you had people like me who had a myriad of things to work through in trying to become a student again. And my children and myself, we are all graduates of something. And I contribute that to being at American Baptist College and dragging my kids to class with me, and they're eating their dinner and working on their homework while my newborn was under the table in a car seat. They were very good kids. So that was lucky for me. Thank you, Lord. And they were able to experience ABC, experience people learning, experience social justice conversations. All of my kids are registered voters. All of my kids are very opinionated and outspoken. I learned early on that I was verbose. So let me know if I've been talking too long. Also, one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I spoke about was the fact that when I was in school, when I was uh, working my way through, there was this onset of civil rights then and now as a part of every class, every course conversation. And I could not understand why they kept bombarding us with the information about civil rights then and now, because the civil rights I knew was about racial equality, about something that we didn't choose by way of skin color, that created hardships for us to try to succeed. And the civil rights now was about, in my mind, sexual preference. And I didn't understand and could not figure out who allowed them to equate those two things. They were not the same. And it wasn't that I was opposed to sexual preference. It wasn't that I had a problem with it. I just didn't want to be bombarded with it. And what I have found in all of these years later, that American Baptist College was ahead of their time in preparing us for the world to come, preparing us to be able to treat people equally and fairly and understand their pains, and understand how we intersected as people. It wasn't different. It did have different nuances, but it wasn't different. It was the same struggle. We want to be treated fairly. We want to be treated equal. We want to have rights that are given to every other person in this world, and so did they. And so while I did struggle with it early on, I came to understand why it is important to treat every human being fairly. It wasn't a racial problem. It wasn't a sexual preference problem. It wasn't a gender problem. It was a human problem. And these problems have been going on since there is Holy Writ. In any writing that you find, people were struggling with these things. That's why the Bible is a reference for us on how we can be better people. It's not the end all for all. There's information from every direction. And American Baptist College offered me that. They didn't just hammer into us dogma and tradition, but they exposed us to information from worlds I never would have been exposed to had I not become a student of American Baptist College. And so I'm grateful to them today. I don't know if I've ever told any of them how it has impacted me, but not just me, my children. They were exposed to a world that ordinarily most kids would not be exposed to as a result of being on the Holy Hill. And so I've learned many things holy, many things social justice, many things academic, and some fun things too. And I didn't even live on campus, but I built relationships with those who did. They frequented my house, and I hung out with them on the campus. And it was just a wonderful experience. Many of them not preachers, many of them there for the information, many of them there because there is a level of acceptance at American Baptist College that you just don't get anywhere else. And so you find yourself there. You find information and technology there. I went to the Bible college to learn about the Bible, but ended up having to take a computer course, a math course, a
Yes.
science course. It's not just about scripture, it's about academia as well. And American Baptist College, to me, is a great place to land and to start your education.
Wow. I'm connecting these themes, these thoughts, and I'm sure it can be another and an additional conversation. Boutique, relationship, and futuristic, right? That's all part of this whole idea of social justice, academia, and the list goes on. And so at this point, Damien, tell us who you are and your time at ABC and whatever you want us to know the value of ABC in your life, for your life. And if you choose to start with the Greek discussion, we understand.
Thank you, Professor Green. My experience is not just an experience. I consider mine a journey. Uh, my uh, my awareness of ABC became to back in 1982. I too, or I am a ABC baby. My father attended ABC, and he graduated in 1986. And as a result of him graduated in 1986, I had an awareness of what American Baptist College was. And the reason why he got to American Baptist College or became aware of American Baptist College was because of Professor Green. We're all from Cleveland, Ohio. He's my employer, he's my uncle, as well as he was my professor while at ABC. But I'll get back to that here shortly. But my foundation, even as a little boy, my neighbor would drive me down to Nashville, Tennessee, to see my dad and to see my uncle. And one of the things that started for me, some 30 plus years later, are the relationships that have come out of Nashville, Tennessee, and through my dad and through my uncle and through American Baptist College. Well, my vocation is music. That's just what I do naturally, as well as that's how I eat, as well as pay my bills as well. And so while ABC is teaches bivocation or to be bivocational, that is mine by way of music. And why preaching was never a thought for me until I was 21 years old back in 1999. And that's what made me, once I started preaching, made me want to go to school, of course, to have education because I had not attended any type of post-high school education. And so at the age of 29, back in 2007, life would afford me the opportunity to come down to Nashville, Tennessee, and to move to Nashville to go to school at American Baptist College. Again, I was 29 years old, and I had had a chance to experience some things in life and by way of music, but I thought I was coming to learn the Bible, just like everyone else, and to sharpen my skills as a preacher and all the things that come along with that. And while there, I got a chance to learn much more about American Baptist College than I thought I knew by way of experience than by way of what I had heard. And so things like the people who my dad and Pastor Green went to school with end up becoming my own professors. So people such as Martin Espinosa, who went to school with my dad, and John Lee, who's on the call right now, who went to school with my dad. John Lee has also deposited in me as a result of the relationship with my dad. His son and I, John Lee's son and I, are classmates. We went to ABC together. And matter of fact, we are fraternal brothers in Alpha Iota Nu Hoya Del Foy, which is the school fraternity, which John Lewis was one of the founders of, and people of that nature. So while I thought I was joining a preaching fraternity, all of the founders were socially justice based. And so there I was running into social justice again. So not only was I afforded the opportunity to pledge Hoya Del Foy by John Lewis's son, I also had the opportunity to pledge Omega Sci-Fi, which my dad was a founding member of the first line there at ABC. And so I am legacy by way of Omega Sci-Fi. That's just for John Lee, while the Sigma thing is going on. And so my history at ABC, again, is a journey and not just an experience. I too came late to school and to college. And one of the things that American Baptist College has taught me, although I didn't live on campus, through my relationship with those who were on campus, and though I was on campus many days, is stick-to-itness. And I know that's not a real word, but it has taught me stick-to-itness. And although I came to ABC in '07, I have not graduated, And although I have not graduated yet, the yet is important because my plan is to still finish. And one of the things that American Baptist College has taught me is to still keep my head up, although that I haven't finished, but to finish what it is that I have started. And so I know my comments have been kind of scattered all over the place, but the more I talk, the more I think about the different experiences on the journey. Even again, having Professor Green as my uncle, but as my professor, and make no mistakes about it. I had grace, but it was the same grace that everybody else got as well. It was nothing any more or any less. It's definitely fair. And so I was not privileged just because he's my uncle, but at the same time, my life was made the better because of his class based on what he taught. Speaking of relationships, even Shalania, coming here to Nashville, and even before coming here to Nashville, share a relationship with her and her family as we serve in both leadership and outside of leadership. She is my sister, and she is my friend as well. And even as she talked about Pastor Tucker and Pastor Parks Jr., I have relationships with them as well. And even as my music, as a result of ABC and the years that I've been here, has even expanded with the relationships that I've developed with different pastors by way of musicianship. I've had the privilege, even on campus and through campus, of playing everything from GNL morning sessions, afternoon sessions, night sessions, late night sessions, to graduation, to convocations, anything musically you can think of, from chapel, even Vesper on Friday nights. I've had the chance and the privilege for that to be a part of my experience and my journey while at ABC. And while all of that has happened, now I must finish, and I will finish.
I just have one question, Damien. How you
Yes.
gonna leave out our birthday?
Oh, and me and Shalania shares the same birthday, which is on
Do. And it
Sunday,
is
November the
Sunday.
1st.
It is
Yes, it
Sunday.
is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. This is true.
All right.
I'm gonna put my Cash App in the chat. No, I'm kidding.
We're going to put our cash apps in the chat.
Copycat.
You know,
Wow.
I want to encourage you, Damien, because as you all heard me in my opening statements, I share with the fact that I initially walked on the campus of American Baptist College in 1984. I actually graduated with Shalina in 2008. Now you
Did.
do the math. Now you do the math. How
Did.
long it took me. Let me share with you how humbling of an experience it was for me. I actually graduated. I found myself in class with the same son that Damien talked about. Here I am in school with my son at American Baptist College.
Wow.
That was a very humbling experience. However, I thank God that I swallowed my pride because honestly, I really went back to American Baptist College to enroll my son in school and left a full-time student myself. On my way back to the church I was pastoring, I'm wondering what just happened. How in the world did I leave a full-time student? So,
Yes.
uh, but I said that with you, Damien, to say, listen, and others that may be listening. One of the reasons I was determined to hang on in there was because I could not look my children in the face and encourage them to get their education and be all they could be if I did not do what I needed to do to be all I could be. And so I was determined. And so again, hang in there. There may be others. I watched many friends that I started out with in 1984. I watched them graduate, go on, and here I was. I'm coming back to graduate with Shalane. That's the truth. But let me tell you, it has been worth it. It has changed the people who were really willing to have conversations with me, the doors that of opportunity that there's not a major city that I cannot go in that I don't have relationship with someone, I call on.
I agree.
That's not. I promise you, my members, my children, they said, "Daddy, you know everybody." But the truth of the matter is, it all started at American Baptist College.
All right.
Wow. It is 2:30, right? Fresh Start is going to have to invite these three back.
Yes.
What you all shared, what you offered, that flowed from you, through you. It was just amazing. I'm encouraged through your lives and individually and collectively of what it really means to have encountered ABC and its current leadership and just all of the themes that resurrected, there you go, that resurrected in this conversation. And it's not limited to preaching or pastoring, but the school is broad enough and expansive enough to welcome the single mom, the pastor, the musician, but anyone who's really interested in minimizing loss and enhancing human well-being. ABC is the space and the place, the people and the community, and where that's part of who we are. And so, y'all, I think we're out of time, and hopefully they'll invite you all back because you all did an excellent job in sharing your experience, strength, and hope. Miss Jones, we're back to you. Yes, Shalania. Yes.
You reminded me of something when you said minimizing loss. I want to say that I left American Baptist College fully paid. I did not have student loans. I did not owe the school. The school was so affordable that a single mom could finish fully paid.
Awesome.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
And the last thing I'll add is, if you don't mind, when students couldn't go anywhere else, I watched American Baptist College open their doors. And I remember going home for Christmas. There were students who had no home to go to. American Baptist College was their home.
Let that resonate, because that is true. And it started all at American Baptist College, you said. Professor Green, thank you for bringing your friends.
Yes, I am appreciative of them agreeing to come. Yes. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely, Shalania. Damien, we'll be talking because you're coming back. Finish what you started. And John, thank you all so very much. You all have hit on everything that is important for people to know about American Baptist College, everything. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And Shalania, I just want to say thank you for that caveat that said a single mother can pay it off as she goes. Thank you.
That's awesome.
I did.
Yes. Well, I just like to, and Facebook, don't we want to say thank you? This is American Baptist College, and this is why we do this every week at 2:00 to introduce you to our American Baptist College family, to different aspects of American Baptist College.
Yes.
We have been doing this since June, and you can go on our webpage, which is www.abcnash.edu, and see all of the previous webinars. You can also go to our YouTube channel, which is American Baptist College. And we just can't tell you how excited we are about all of this. We're having a spring semester. We start in January. So you can go to the website, and this is how it happened to you, John. You can go to the website right now and apply. That's how it happened to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Go to the website right now and hit the apply button and submit your application, and we will take it from there with you. Let's see. We want you to also, when you go to the to YouTube, we want you to subscribe and to like so that we can build our followers. So also our phone number is 615-687-6907. This is admissions@abcnash.edu. Once again, I'd like to thank you all so much. And any parting words, anyone?
You're
None
welcome.
for me. Yeah, just thank you for
Thank
the
you all.
opportunity.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank
You all
you.
have a good day. Bye-bye, Facebook. You
God
all
bless
apply at American Baptist College.
Take care, everyone. Bye.